Welcome to an uplifting moment. This past week we returned from spending time at our Mexico home on the property of Refuge Ranch to be near our daughter Julie and her family. Now I'm recording this in the backyard of our home here in Florida, where we can be near our son Dan and his family. Our theme for an uplifting moment: God has prepared you. On one of my recent morning walks near our home in Mexico, I passed a shepherd boy watching the family's sheep. The sheep were resting. Many were lying down in what seemed to me to be a temporary sheepfold nestled under some trees. Because the sheep weren't going anywhere, neither was the shepherd boy. He was just sitting there, though in this modern scene of shepherd boy and sheep, the young man was focusing on a cell phone or a small gaming device of some kind he held in his hands. The scene reminded me of the most famous king of all time, King David. He started out as a shepherd boy watching the family sheep. Like this shepherd boy I encountered, I'm sure young David also had much time on his hands. But unlike his modern counterpart, David didn't have technology to help him pass the time. David apparently spent much of his time composing poems, what we call psalms in the Bible, and putting them to music with his portable stringed instrument we know that he played. Something else David did with his spare time was to practice hitting things with a slingshot. Now this came in handy when he had to sling a stone right between the eyes of the giant Goliath. Well, of course, life wasn't all peaceful and relaxing for young David when he was tending the family sheep. He had to find green pastures and still waters for the sheep he shepherded. Then, too, he had to risk his own life in protecting them from lions and bears. We have it on record. He had to kill both to protect his sheep. King David's early years prepared him for what God would do with him in the later years and what he would call him to in the later years. He would slay Goliath by the help of God, but also with the help of years of practice with the slingshot. He would fearlessly lead military battles with the same faith and confidence he had when facing the lion and the bear. He would use many of the same leadership principles being king as he had used when being a shepherd boy. His poems or hymns would become part of the Bible, part of the book of Psalms, and until the end of time, be a comfort and encouragement to millions of people. God prepared David for his multifaceted life's work while as a boy and young man shepherding a flock of sheep. God has prepared us for his call upon our lives too. Whatever opportunities, challenges, setbacks, troubles, or whatever else we face, God knew we would face it. He planned for it. He's prepared us for it. Our past, even the pain of the past, can be used by God for good. We have what it takes to face the present, and we'll have what it takes to face the future. We just have to be open to his presence and help in order to fully access the prep work he's already done in our lives. Psalm 78 verses 70 through 72 says of God, he chose David his servant and took him from the sheep pens. From tending the sheep, he brought him to be shepherd of the people Jacob of Israel, his inheritance, and David shepherded them with integrity of heart. With skillful hands, he led them. Thank you for joining me for this, an uplifting moment.